It's Saturday afternoon on SABC One, and you know what that means. It's time for Game On, brought to you by Hollywood Bets. Hello, I'm Zanzi, I am Caesar Mapena, and let's just confirm it for those of you that may not be in the know. In Germany, the champions, Bayern Munich. In England, champions, Liverpool. And it's confirmed in South Africa, the champions are Mamelodi Sundowns. We take our hats off to them. And it's all about now the scramble for places for those trying to get into the continental places. I'm joined now by Shane McGregor to break down what's been happening out in England and what a story is turning out to be in as far as the race for the sides that will qualify for the European places. But now, let's just quickly have a look at this. Between number 3, which is Manchester City, 68 points, Shane. Number 7, Nottingham Forest, 65 points.
Yeah.
The scramble very much alive going into the last day of fixtures for all those sides involved. Good day to you, and what a way to end the season.
Yeah, good day. Good to be here, and you know, what makes it even better is Chelsea in the Conference League final. So if they win, the 8th spot becomes another position,
Yeah.
So everything's still to play for, besides for the teams that have obviously qualified, the Liverpool, the Arsenal through. Well done to both of them. But yeah, the next 3 positions going to go down to the last game of the season, and Chelsea could be the kingmakers of a lot of the clubs,
And let's also mention Tottenham and Manchester United. They on Thursday night battled it out for a spot in the Champions League for next season. Both of them finishing number 17 and 16th on the league respectively. It's unbelievable that they still stood a chance to get into the Champions League. Yeah.
Well, watching that game, you can understand why. You can understand why they finished so low down in the league.
Yeah.
2 very mediocre teams.
Very much so.
I have to say that.
Very much so.
Sorry, and I'm not being funny.
No, I'm a United fan and I agree.
No, they were mediocre. Both sides were mediocre the whole season. Well done to Spurs. They get to play in the Champions League next year for that victory. But I also got to congratulate Man United. We spoke off air about this. They staved off relegation.
That's the brightest point of the season.
The brightest point of the
6
season.
or so points all year, this year?
Yeah.
It's brightest point.
Yeah, from January now, 6 points. Now, so, it shows you.
Let's talk about the action that started all the way on Friday. And we'll go back to Tottenham again on Friday because they played Aston Villa. Villa staying in the hunt for a Champions League spot, never mind just a European spot. And they had the beating of Tottenham with a 2-0 scoreline.
Well, you expected that, They were looking at the final. They're looking forward to the final, and they were never going to go out there and give 300% before a big cup final. So you expect the Villa to win, and keeping in that hunt. Villa have been one of those teams that have been up there the whole season. I was happy for them that they got the result, but still, it's got a long way to go.
Chelsea, pretty much the same spot with them in Manchester United. Chelsea weren't great by any stretch of the imagination. Did just about enough for the 1-0 win.
Win's a win, and that's the main thing for them, keeping themselves in that hunt. They got a big game in the last game of the season, so that's going to be, that could define where they are. But also, you must remember, they're in that Conference League final, so that's another one to look forward to for them. It's a juggling point now. Do you want to look at that final? And I think some of the players are starting to look that way, the way they're performing, So, it's difficult to motivate a team when you've got a big cup final coming up.
Now, Nottingham Forest, another side under pressure, needing the result, away from home to West Ham United. And again, the positive result, the 2-1 win for Nottingham Forest. They're all pushing each other right till the end, aren't they?
Well, they have to, and especially for Forest, they've had a tremendous season. I mean, who would have expected that? I said to watch out for Forest. Their manager's a wily fox, he knows what he's doing. And they've, if you look at their squad and their team, I mean, he's taken players that have been in the woods, excuse the pun, and kept them game, and that's what's been happening. They deserve to be in Europe next season just for that. But once they are, which they're going to be, no matter what I think, is what do? Do they bring in more players? Do they strengthen the squad? They're going to have to.
Yeah. Arsenal, Newcastle United. Arsenal have been struggling of late locally. They have the Champions League behind them, the disappointments thereof as well, I think it's safe to say after they lost to PSG. But then they get back to winning ways against Newcastle. And Newcastle, one of those sides that's also struggling for a spot here. Yeah,
I didn't expect that to happen. I must be very honest with you. I thought Arsenal would blow it, but got the job done. They're in Champions League. But once again, it's a nearly season for them, and nearly winning the league, nearly getting through, nearly doing this. Still haven't won a trophy in how long, and that's a big worry. But going to strengthen their squad for next season, so it'll be a little bit more competitive.
And let's take our hats off to Crystal Palace as well, FA Cup champions. They were, of course, in the final against Manchester City on Tuesday. They both come out following that final, both impress with a 4-2 win for Palace over Wolves, while City came up with a 3-1 win over Bournemouth. That's great squad management to keep their eyes still on the prize, yeah?
Yeah, well, they had to both win. Well, not really both win. Palace went out there and enjoyed it. I mean, they've just won the FA Cup. They got over the line against a Man City team that were unlucky, I thought, but that's the game, you've got to take your chances. But well done to both. Like you say, the managers, to keep the eyes on and gain and to motivate players after that is very difficult.
Now, let's talk all the action coming up tomorrow. There's some games you simply don't want to miss with all that's at stake. Firstly, Fulham, Craven Cottage. We've said a lot about this place. We've said a lot about Fulham at home. City looking to seal a Champions League spot.
I can't see City not getting a point out of this. And I know I've been carrying on about Fulham at home, and it's going to be so difficult for City not to get a point in this game. I think they'll get the job done and keep that fight going until the last game.
Another huge game, this time for Aston Villa. Their way to the theatre of nightmares for Manchester United. It's been nightmares at home this season, but Villa should be confident going into this game of a possible 3 points here.
They will get the 3 points. As far as I'm concerned, they got more to play for. Man United, after the season they had, for me, I would get rid of all those players, play all the youngsters, bring in your youth squad and see for next season. That's what I would do. So I think Villa will win.
Newcastle, Everton. Newcastle at home.
Big game for Newcastle. To go there and get a result for Everton is going to be hard. They've got nothing to play for now. I think Newcastle gets the job done against them, even though Everton have been playing so well.
Saving what I feel is the game of the weekend and the best for last year. Nottingham Forest are at home to Chelsea. Now, goes without saying, Forest on 65 points. Chelsea currently 5th on 66 points. Both these sides will want the 3 points, as good as the final at the end of the season.
And what I said to you as well, Chelsea looking at their cup final. So how do you go about it? Will the players be putting their tackles in? Would they be getting worried about getting injured? I think Forest will go out there, put the pressure on, put in a few tackles early on and get a result and stay in that hunt.
Well, the likes of Brighton still looking for European places at the end of it all out in England. That's how I look at what's happening out in England. And my oh my, what action comes tomorrow should give us a lot to talk about. Come next week with Shane McGregor. We take a short break, come back, discuss the local game here in Mzansi. And on the other side of that, we'll discuss what's happening in Germany as they themselves find themselves in a scramble for places.